Saturday. Glad to see you all this morning. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Annie. I am 42 years old. I am a wife, married to my high school sweetheart, almost 20 years now. I have two kids. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son, and they are in all the sports. So we are super busy doing that. I'm also a first grade teacher, former special ed teacher, turned first grade teacher when I needed a change a few years ago. I started Beachbody workouts about 3 years ago now. I was just in a point in my life where what I was doing was just not working. I wasn't consistent. I didn't have the time to take care of myself, and I really wasn't happy at my job, and I just felt like I needed a change. So I saw Paige on Instagram. I had been watching her for a couple of months, and I finally just said, okay, let's do this. So started with the workouts, did that just kind of on my own as a challenger for 2.5 years. And like Paige said, I accidentally got on a team call one morning and just kind of was listening. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do that. I am doing all the things already, I'm doing the workouts, I'm following the meal plans. I'm telling a few people about it if they ask, but why not? Let's do it. So I think I messaged her a few days later and told her let's do this. I didn't really have a lot of questions. I didn't know what to ask, so I just jumped in. Also, at the same time, I had just discovered a lump on my throat, on my thyroid. So I was nervous about that, and I think I was just trying to focus on something else. But anyways, that's how I got started. I would say the first thing you have to do as a new coach is to put your post out there, on Instagram, on Facebook. Tell people what you're doing. If you're new to Beachbody, tell them that this is something new I'm doing. I was not new to Beachbody, so I was able to say, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I'm loving it. I had a love for the programs, so that was easy for me to just say, these are amazing. Come follow along on my journey. So don't wait for that, I say, coming out post, jumping off post, whatever you want to say. Do that within 1 or 2 days of signing up, just so it's out there. Like, I avoided it for a day or two, and once I finally just put that post out there, it was like a relief. It was off my shoulders. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm ready to go now. So within 1 or 2 days, put that post out there. At first, I thought I was only going to work this business on Instagram. I think mainly because most of the people I know from life are my friends on Facebook and not necessarily on Instagram. So I was a little afraid of putting it all out there to all of them. I did put that jumping off post on Facebook, and the responses that I got from friends and family just on that post kind of made me rethink that and decide, okay, wait, these are my people. Like, these are the people who know me already and trust me already. I do have to put, at least some of this on Facebook too. So that kind of shifted my thoughts on that. And then I did that one evening, that post on one evening, and the very next day I was posting my workouts. Like, there was no, time lapse. I started the very next day. And just a little backstory, I'm very much an introvert, and I previously did not share really hardly anything on social media. I was on social media, but I really just watched other people, didn't even comment on anybody's posts or like anything. I was just kind of an introvert. I was just, an Enneagram 5. I was just observing everybody. So I realized real quick that I definitely would have to change that, because who wants to follow someone who doesn't put themselves out there and participate in socialness? So I would say the biggest thing is consistency. You have to show up well, I mean, I say every day, but in some way every day. Even if you're not working out every single day, you take the weekends off, you still need to show up and show that you'll be there for your people. So I start my day with my workouts, post my workouts, and then I would say as a new coach, at least 2 or 3 daily life updates in the day as well on your stories. Now, when I first started, I was only adding to my stories on Instagram because, like I said, that was where my focus was. And I realized that you can just as easily shoot those same stories to Facebook, with the click of a switch. And that was a little scary for me because, like I said, all my people were over on Facebook, and I was really putting myself out there to all, really opening myself for any judgment that anybody in my life might have. But I decided it was worth it. So I just clicked that switch and shot my stories over to Facebook as well. And then I know that you might hear a lot of people saying you need to post daily, you need to post daily. I knew for me that that was not practical. There was no way I had enough to say to post something daily. So I made myself a goal of post on my feed 2 to 3 times a week. So that was my beginning goal. Post 2 to 3 times a week, something on my feed. Stories daily, but on my feed 2 to 3 times a week. And I did early on, since I had already been doing workouts for 2.5 years, I did have a before and after. So I made sure to put that before and after early on in my feed so that people could see, oh, damn, there is a before and after. This does work. Because just seeing it, a lot of people, especially on Facebook, because I don't post regularly before, they didn't know what I had looked like 2 years ago, unless I had seen them in person versus now. So that was important for me to put that before from 2.5 years ago to my current to show them, I'm in this for the long haul. At 2.5 years, I've been able to stay consistent with this. So if you have a before and after, post that before and after in your feed. If you don't have a before and after yet, you can have a 1 week before and after. Show them your progress in some way. It could be, if you started last week, give them that day 1, and then next week, give them a one week, side by side, or a 2 week, or whatever you have, some kind of before and after. And then pick your first day for your challenge group. Whenever you're going to start your first challenge group, and don't wait to start a challenge group. Like, don't do it. You've got, that's where you've got to get started. So pick either the 2nd or the 3rd Monday of the month, write it on your calendar. That's the day you're going to start. That's your day 1. And then now you have something to share. Now you have something to invite people to. I'm starting on this date. Do you want to join me on this date? And that kind of gives people oh, okay, well, I guess if I'm going to do this, I need to decide and, make a commitment. So picking a date, 2nd or 3rd Monday of the month, and then that gives you a good 2 weeks to talk about it. Talk about it in your stories, talk about it on one of your posts that you do that week, so that people know you're doing this and you want them to come along. You're not just, flying in the wind. Hey, if you want to come join me, come on. If not, whatever. But just pick a date and say, we're starting February 14th. My group starts. Are you in or are you out? Kind of thing. And if they're out, that's okay. Maybe they're not ready yet. So pick that, talk about it for 2 weeks. My biggest thing at the beginning was knowing what to talk about in my posts, like my feed. I didn't really know what to say. The beginning of my journey was so long ago. I I mean, I don't really remember all my thoughts and feelings at the time. So that was a little bit hard for me. And just talking about feelings in general is hard for me. So putting my thoughts and feelings out to the world has been very difficult for me. But the place that I have found that has helped me be able to do that better, not good at it yet, but better, is my personal development. Finding something inside me that I know I need to work on. And one of those things was being vulnerable and, being able to speak my feelings and not just shove, because that's what I do. So finding personal development that speaks to you, whether it be a podcast or an audiobook. I'm a reader, so I enjoy real books. So finding books that will address my weaknesses, basically, how I want to improve myself as a person, not necessarily professionally, not business-wise, but how do I want to become better as a person? So finding something that I can read or listen to that will help me, become a better person. And in turn, that led me to have things to talk about. So as I'm working on myself, that makes me say, oh, I can talk about that. Oh, I bet there are other women out there who have this same problem of shoving everything down and not dealing with their emotions. Maybe I should talk about that. So that really was the biggest thing for me. And I've always been a personal development kind of person. I've always, drifted towards those kinds of books, but never spoken about them to anyone, just kind of, had it in. So it's been very freeing to kind of put that out there too. And the more you speak about things and your feelings, it's easier to just let them go, and improve yourself. So finding personal development that's geared towards you. It doesn't have to be what everybody else is reading. Maybe you don't have the same, I don't want to say problems because they're not problems, but maybe you don't have the same things that you want to work on for yourself. So find what works for you. And if you don't know what books or what podcasts, ask anyone in this group. Hey, has anyone had, have difficulty with, I don't know, self-confidence? I mean, don't we all have that at times? So just put it out there in the group. Hey, I need a book for this. Hey, I need a podcast for this. What do you recommend? And then just try those out, see if those resonate with you. If not, move on. You don't have to stick with something. I've tried a couple of podcasts that have been recommended to me and they just really weren't my thing. So I just moved on and found something else. Find something that speaks to you. Also, I think another thing that I really did at the beginning, and I'm still doing it now just because I'm kind of nerdy like this and I like to know all the things. I really dove into all the national wake-up calls that are on the Beachbody. I usually listen to them on the podcast, all the former ones. And that just kind of gives you, most of them are more professional development. There are some on there that are personal development and talks about, finding your why. And I usually listen to those. I usually listen to multiple, 2 or 3 a week, just in time, driving to school or waiting on kids to get out of sports, just listening to those national wake-up calls, because you can hear from such a variety of different people. And most of them are top coaches that are speaking on that call. So, obviously they're successful. They kind of know what they're talking about. And also Paige's YouTube channel with all of her former team calls from Saturdays. I just dove through that YouTube channel and I like it better because you can really find the topics that you want to focus on. So I know that there was a meeting from a while back about working full time and coaching, and other ones about finding your why and setting goals. And I think there have even been some that I've listened to about how to have conversations with people. So just get that YouTube channel from Paige, and if I'm sure you can put it right here in the chat page, but just kind of go back through those. I mean, she's got them for years. And it's kind of interesting to see too, even how her advice has kind of shifted as things have changed in social media as well. But I think all of that, just little tidbits that then you can take what works for you, what you're comfortable doing, and your style, and kind of mold it together into how you want to be a coach. Also, another thing at the very beginning, one thing that I really had to change was I realized that I had to be social on social media. And in doing that, not only, I mean, it's brought me challengers, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of brought some joy back to me and connections with old friends that I haven't talked to in years. Even if they never join me, I've connected with those friends again. And it brings me joy and happiness. And really, that's why I started doing this in the first place. I didn't have a lot of joy in my teaching life. I don't this year. So I was looking for something that I could pour my heart in and kind of have some fun with. So I think there have been times where in this business already, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, just overwhelmed. And I don't know what to do. I don't even know what this business activity tracker means. And I just kind of have to step back and remind myself, this is supposed to be fun for you. You're doing this for fun. So if I'm not having fun, I need to figure out, okay, I need to quit stressing about that. And I just need to make sure I'm having fun with this. So definitely remember, yes, this is a business. Yes, you're here to make money, I'm sure, but it should also be fun. And that's what I tell myself about teaching as well. This should be fun. Yes, it should be hard work. Yes, there are going to be things I don't like about it, but it's supposed to be fun. And if it's not fun, you've got to find a way to make it fun. So I'm working on that in both areas of this business and in teaching. That's on my vision board for this year. Find the joy in teaching. The teaching for me in some strange way. I think because now I can focus some of my mental space on this, and it's not all consumed with teaching and how I was feeling about that. So just let it be fun and enjoy it. And I don't know, that's really, I guess, my biggest advice. Have fun with it, stay consistent. That's my number one advice to anyone out there. Be consistent. No one wants to have a coach who is flighty and they're here this day and then you don't see them for a week. And, you know, be consistent. I know that's what I would be looking for. Think about what you want in a coach and be that for anybody who's watching you. Make the invitations, but I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Of all the challengers that I have right now, only one of them was from an invite. All of the rest of my challengers have been from people who've reached out to me, some right at the beginning. And I think that just goes into, if people trust you, they're eventually, you know, if it's something that they want and need, eventually they're going to come to you. So I'm not saying don't invite, because I still invite, don't get me wrong, but not all of your challengers will be from the inviting. Some of them will just be from people who are watching you and trust you and want what you have. So, you know, don't count those people out either. Okay, Paige, that's all I got.
That's all. That was so good. You said so many things that I'm like, that is why she has seen success early on in her business. And one of those biggest things is consistency, like you said at the end. Like if you want people to sign up with you and work out with you, first you're going to have to show them that you can show up. Like if they see you in and out, they're like, oh, I can do that on my own. Like, why would I invest in that? Because I can quit and start and quit and start. So consistency is so important. That is the thing that people are looking for. I want to open it up for questions. You guys, these calls specifically with new coaches, if you're struggling with something in your business, hitting Success Club especially, I believe that these people are the best people to ask questions to because they're new. They are newly in it. And when you come to somebody who's been around like me for 4 years or 3 years or 2 years, like our answers might be a little bit jaded. These people that are brand new are in it, like brand new in it. So don't miss the opportunity to ask Annie anything that you're wondering.
I do want to say one more thing before, if anybody has any questions. The business activity tracker that you see on your coach office or like a printout, that was very, very overwhelming to me at the beginning, you know, where it says like invite 10 people to join your group every day. I don't have 10 people to invite. Like, I haven't talked to most of these people on, you know, my Facebook for years. I refused to invite them to my bod group when I just got on and said, hey, I'm doing this. I couldn't do that. I did not feel comfortable with that. If you do, go for it, you know, that's fine. But I did not feel comfortable with that. So I looked at that check on the success tracker and kind of just lowered it down at the beginning to like 1 a day, you know, to the people that I really already had connections with in my daily life. Don't think you have to invite 10 people a day if you don't have 10 people a day to invite. You know, you don't want to run everybody off right when you start. So don't be intimidated by that Success Club tracker. Follow it the best you can in the ways that you can. You know, if it says invite 5, try to invite 1 a day at the beginning. Add 20 new people to your social media. No, that was not going to happen for me. You know, I was lucky to go find 1 more person to follow that day because I'm very picky about the people I follow. And I found myself just like scrolling forever, trying to find people to follow or to connect with. So that's definitely something I'm still working on. On the Beachbody Champions page on Facebook, they also have every week, they have someone who takes you through a power hour. And those are recorded also. And I have found that those power hours have helped me kind of have some different ways, different ideas from different people on how to do those connections. Because one person's way of connecting on social media might not fit, you know, my personality. So that's some options too on if you don't know how to make the connections. You know, if you're an extrovert, you probably have no problem with connections whatsoever. But for us introverts and type 5s, the connections, not really the connections. Like when I find somebody, I connect fine, but it's actually finding the people to connect with. So don't be afraid to kind of investigate some different ways to do that as well. Okay, that's it.
I do want to point out 2 more things that I think have made you super successful. One of them, and I think these 2 things are consistent across the board with anybody who's ever seen success, especially in the beginning. Number 1, Annie asks questions to me when she has them. Like there have been several times she's come to me and she's asked me about social media, giving her feedback. That's so important. You have to be in connection with your mentor so she can help you, not so she can do it for you. And that's the second thing I wanted to mention is that Annie obviously is so good at using her resources. Nobody can do it for you. Your mentor cannot do it for you. Nobody out there can do it. And if you want to know something more, you have to put yourself into a business owner's mindset, okay? I know a lot of us are so used to being employees. We're so used to somebody saying, here's your job description, go do it. Instead of like, okay, well, I have total control what do I do today? Well, you have to go find the things. You have to go look at YouTube channels, maybe my YouTube channel, go to Beachbody Champions page. I didn't tell Annie about any of those things. Not one of them did I tell her about. She took ownership of her business from the start and she found what she was looking for. And that single thing will set coaches apart. I can tell you without a doubt that will set people apart, to just know what's going on, seek out information, and figure out how to be successful because they genuinely want it. So I love that. Okay, I do want you to ask your questions, though. You can type them in the chat if you want to, or you can unmute yourself. I'll start with one, but I know some people have. Most people, when they start coaching, do not make stories before. Like, they don't sit here and talk on their stories before they're a coach. How do you overcome that fear and start doing it consistently?
I never, ever talked on my stories before becoming a coach. Like, that was the last thing I wanted to do. I did not want to talk in public on my stories because I felt like I had nothing to say and who cares. So I had to definitely say, somebody cares what I have to say. Even if it's nonsense, somebody cares what I have to say. And I just had to do it. Really, is just, okay, I don't even remember what the first thing was that I did on my stories where I was actually talking. I think it was something not even Beachbody related, so that I felt more comfortable doing it. And it might have just been even something stupid like, I don't know, what do you think about this? Or I'm having a good hair day today, or I don't know, just something random, something short. So I did that a few times. And then, I still don't feel super comfortable talking on my stories. It's not my favorite thing, but I don't have a problem with it anymore. And I also found that the more I do it, the more the people I know and are in my daily life will just like randomly say something to me. Oh, I know. I talked about a guy who was totally rude to me at the recycling center one day, and how I was so annoyed with people who don't sort their things correctly. Yes, that's me. At the recycling center. And I was just super annoyed with it. And I was just like, what is wrong with people? Why paper, and I just kind of ranted. It was random, but I had people the next day at work being like, oh my gosh, yes. And so it just kind of made connections and they just thought it was funny. But it had nothing to do with Beachbody, but it just gave me a little bit of, okay, I can do this. It's fun kind of thing. And then when I do come on to talk about Beachbody and my groups, it's a little more comfortable and people aren't like, oh, here she is talking again about her groups. That's all she ever talks about. So just getting on and talking about other things too, not just when you're inviting to your groups.
And do polls and things like that are totally random too. Like, mine don't always work for me, but the one that's worked recently is Redeeming Love. And I saw actually another coach had posted that, but I love that book and I've been like super excited about seeing the movie, but I've also seen like super controversial things. So I was like, have you seen this movie? What do you think? And I got so many like yeses and nos, and I was reaching out to people like, okay, why are you not going? What did you like about it? What didn't you like? And I'm having like awesome conversations with some ladies, and we're even going like super deep about like sexual things and like, should we be watching, things on the screen about sex and like, as Christians, and it's just like really entertaining and interesting. So
I think that's the easiest way to make those connections is when you talk about random things or have a random poll that has nothing to do with health or fitness. That's where I've had the most conversations with people, just, generic, heartfelt conversations is from, polls and like silly stories like that.
And it seems to me a lot of times newer coaches feel like they can't do that because they have to talk about Beachbody like right out of the gates. And then their social media all of a sudden goes from like this place where they used to share life to all she's talking about now is Beachbody. And I did the same thing. And I remember when I started, I would ask Meg for feedback, my upline. And I remember her telling me, I want to see more of your life. Like just because you started Beachbody coaching, that's not even like 50% of your life. Your workout takes 20 to 30 minutes. You eat your meals, you come to these calls sometimes, but it's a very small percentage of your life, what you're doing and who you are. So I think what Annie's saying is so, so important. People are going to connect with you and watch you and like talk to you about things that you're sharing that are silly, that are random, that are funny. And then you're sprinkling Beachbody in there, which we talked all about this a couple weeks ago. And you guys know how I feel about, I'm trying to change up my social media right now too, because I got even 5 years in almost, I got into that space of talking too much about business, talking too much about Beachbody. And that will make you lose your joy. It is not fun to come on and only talk about health and fitness. It's just not. That's not my life. And I don't think it's any of your lives completely. So show all parts of you.
And also, I will say, when I post about food, I get lots of feedback, whether if it's a recipe in my feed or just a picture of something that I'm eating. I get lots of just comments on that because everybody eats. Like not everybody workouts, but everybody eats. Everybody likes to eat. So don't be afraid. I mean, I'm not saying post every meal, you know, some people like that, some people don't, but don't be afraid to, you know, just shoot a picture of some food or a new food that you've tried and ask, hey, I want to try spaghetti squash. Who can tell me how to make it? Even if you already know, you can just say, how do I make this? You know, kind of thing. And then you can just get some interactions there.
That's a golden tip, to ask for advice or opinions. So helpful. Totally. Okay, does anybody else have questions? I'm the only one who asked a question.
How much do you love the test group that you're in, Annie?
I have mixed feelings. No, I really like it. The first week I was a total stress ball about it all because it is, it's not Portion Fix, but it uses the containers. And I haven't used the containers in years. When I first started Beachbody, I used Portion Fix and I had a lot of success with it, but I knew that that was not something that I wanted to do forever because it was not sustainable for me. So I switched over to 2B Mindset. So kind of going back to that has been a shift for me. And it is a little more restrictive than, because it's a gut protocol, you know, we're working on our gut. It's been a little more restrictive. So I was a total stress ball the first week. The second week I flew through it easy breezy. Now I'm ready to finish it up 2 more weeks. I really do like it. It's been a cool experience to kind of see the backhand of Beachbody and that they don't have all their stuff together all the time. So it's kind of fun to see how they develop things and the steps of development. So it's been a great experience. It's been hard. No, don't get me wrong. It's been hard, but it has been a great experience. And I'm lucky to be able to do that. And also my very first goal when I started was I knew I wanted to go to Summit because of all the pictures that I have seen from Paige over the years of all of her trips to Summit. So I knew I wanted to go to Summit, but I also knew I didn't want to pay $300 for a ticket. So that my number one goal was to earn that free ticket to Summit so that I could go meet everybody. First of all, that was my main thing. I want to meet everybody and I want to work out in the streets of whatever city that is. So, which St. Louis this year. So that was my number one goal, met that goal. So I'm so excited to get to meet everybody this summer.
So if you're brand spanking new, Annie and Hannah have both earned a spot in this test group, which means it's a brand new program. Nobody's doing it. It comes out in March and they get to try it first. They also both earned free tickets to Summit in their first 3 months as coaches because they both hit Success Club. So you have 6 months to earn both of these things. And you have to hit Success Club just 3 of the months out of your first 6 months to earn a Success Starter ticket to Summit and get the chance to be in a test group, which is really cool. Okay. Any last questions? Going once?